Ask Count Corla. This budget 2024 is very important, and more particularly in my role as Minister of State for Local Government and Planning. I want to go through some of the key elements. Local government, we've made a significant contribution of 421.9 million to the sector in 2024. A significant portion of this contribution will impact of the national pay agreements on the payroll of local authorities, ensuring local have the necessary resources in terms of people to support their functions. And obviously we'll be conscious that there is a public pay talks to get underway shortly, and it will further inform in terms of local authority staff payroll costs. The contribution from the central government will also support an increase of 75.4 million local property baseline funding to local authorities in 2024. That's a over 21% increase. The update is following a much-needed review of the baseline funding, which we completed earlier this year. And furthermore, each local authority will now see an increase at a minimum of 1.5 million in their LPT baseline funding for 24 onwards, in line with recommendations of the review and recognition of the costs and demands facing the sector. Furthermore, the fund will also provide local government fund allocation of 24.7 million for small but vitally important projects across the sector. And local authorities play a pivotal role in our local communities, and their support, and more particularly of their staff, is fully acknowledged. And Minister O'Brien's made reference, but the Local Authority Affordable Housing Scheme Fund, we've amended that in cooperation with the Department of Finance, where now there was an issue there where people, not all applicants may qualify for the Help to Buy. We're amending a scheme to ensure that they do. I think it's a very progressive scheme in terms of people being able to afford to make it more affordable for people to purchase their home. And certainly the Help to Buy scheme is something that Sinn Féin would have opposed in the past. We think it's a key element. And also local authorities administer pre-Conan scheme as well, which is hugely important. I now want to move to direct elect the Mayor of Limerick. And I'm pleased to announce that I've secured funding of over 4.3 million in 2024 to provide for the establishment of the Office of Direct Elected Mayor, and more importantly, the mayoral budget to support the mayor and their role, in particular for delivery of the mayoral programme. The mayoral election will take place on the same day as the local and European elections. So the mayor, that's a budget really for a 6-month period, and the mayoral programme could even be for a shorter period, because the mayor, when they come in, they have 4 months in which to come forward to the mayoral programme. I'm working that we'll get the legislation through by the end of the year. I've secured furthermore, on top of the 4.3 million for next year, 300,000 to provide for a public awareness campaign as well, which is hugely important to put in as at the start of the year when we have the legislation brought in and in advance of the election being held in June. On planning, we've provided over 10 million to, in terms of, we brought forward the largest review, a reform of planning in terms of the bill just recently published since the foundation of the state. We're looking at 5 million extra going to Umbor Penola, getting 32 million. We're also looking at the local authorities getting an extra 2.6 million, and we're looking at Mara getting 3 million. What we want to ensure is the reforms are bringing in, that we have the staff and capacity are there. In terms of 2.6 million local authorities, that's to enable them to get the first 100 people recruited, in line with the recommendation of the review, which looked at over 500. Furthermore, we want to ensure that Umbor Penola has the requisite staff in terms of dealing with the backlog and further demands under the new planning bill, in terms of deadline dates. And then finally, in terms of supporting vulnerable households, travel accommodation, 28 million, an increase of 5%. I'm also looking to put the pilot caravan loan scheme, which 3.2 million loans this year, to make that a permanent scheme next year, something that I'm very much committed to doing. And finally, in terms of the housing adaptation against rural people and people with a disability, an increase there of 8 million. It's now up to 75 million. That's an increase of 12% in 2023. I want to see about 13,000 grants are expected to be delivered on top of the 12,300 this year. Furthermore, people will be aware 13 of the local authorities have applied for additional funding already this year. We've approved 10. We're looking at the other 3, and this is a scheme we feel very strongly about and we want to roll out. And finally, 3 million is being provided for initiatives for disabled and older people, 2 million of that is revenue in terms of mental health tenancy officers within cooperation with the HSE, and also in terms of Age Friendly Ireland and the Housing Agency who are implementing the housing strategy, and it's something really that we feel strongly about. Thank you.